I think we're used to not seeing much wildlife, and what we see we think is the norm. And what we need to try and do is get back to this place where the norm is an abundant amount.
Salmon don't live in isolation. They're part of the river ecosystem. And we've seen over the last couple of hundred years, when you remove elements, whether it's predators, whether it's trees, or whether you canalize them, hardly surprising, we've lost a lot of salmon. Predator-prey dynamics is a kind of tricky one. We often see it as negative, but they're crucial to the system. So if we could change the river dynamics, improve the habitat, build a more resilient population of animals that those predators can take without really affecting that population. If those young fish had a much more complex environment where there were places to hide, there's like refuges, there would be more of them in the environment. We can just do this by chucking in logs or putting in trees in the river, but there's someone out there that does it for free. The beaver is like the perfect native ecosystem engineer for rivers in Scotland. They've been doing it for thousands of years. They just happen to have an absence for a couple of hundred years.
We've had beavers here since 2008. We've sacrificed a bit of grazing ground, but actually it was very low quality stuff. It was agriculturally unproductive, so we've lost out in that. But what we've gained has been absolutely monumental. For the farming side of things, obviously now we've got amazing water quality control in fluctuations in flooding and in droughts. From a wildlife point of view on the farm, a lot of the things that my father was seeing through the 80s and 90s, we're seeing those things come back. We had a guy doing his PhD here on the beavers, and he found that the more dams the beavers built, the more water they created. In fact, the more successful spawning, the more the fish numbers increased. People think, farmers and ecology don't get on at all, but up here we've got an amazing opportunity to show that actually farmers are really part of the solution. Everyone has an area on their farm that's always too wet to plough, that's always difficult to access, that the rushes keep coming back the whole time, and you think, well, instead of fighting that, maybe we should just see if we can work with that.
If you create the habitat, the animals will come. There was a straightened bit of the Rottal burn, which was straightened about 180 years ago. And about 10 years ago, we decided with the fishery board that we were going to re-meander it. We've got curlews, oyster catchers, sandpipers. They're finding 5 times the amount of small fry and small salmon par in the river that there were before. We get otters through quite a lot, and they're all natural parts of the river system. And I think if we can get the habitat right and get the number of insects and invertebrates in the river right, I think that will really improve it.
The invertebrates are very, very important. The salmon have got to have something to eat. Freshwater invertebrates are affected by multiple pressures on the rivers. Not only are they affected by the quality of the water, but they're reliant on the availability of the habitats that they require to survive. We can't forget they're near the bottom of the food chain. Everything else above is reliant on their mere existence. And you can't just have one source. We need to have diversity. So nothing stands alone. It's all interconnected. We need change to happen fast, and the only way to accomplish that is for more people to understand.
If we want healthy populations of salmon, we need as many pieces of that complex ecological jigsaw in place to support them.